Alright, everybody. Mr. Lopez here. Grab your cans. I hope you guys are ready for this. Grab your spray cans. Shake them up. That's right. Just grab them and shake them. Alright, everybody. Grab your poster board. Sea sponge. And the spraycasso tool. Alright guys, let's talk about the basic materials needed for the spraycasso style of art. The most important one is the mask. As you can tell, this mask has respirators on the side, filters. I highly recommend this mask. You can get it at pretty much any hardware store, especially if you spray paint as much as I do. It comes in very handy. Basic colors of spray paints: orange, white, black, get extra black and white, red, yellow, blue, and green. Basic colors, nothing too extravagant, no purples, no pinks, just the basic colors. Straight edges, different size straight edges will come in very handy to create different effects, such as water effects, lighting effects, help you manipulate the paint better. So the more sizes you have, the better. Great. Okay, put those aside. Masking tape and painter's tape works really good. You don't want to use anything too strong like duct tape. Different types and sizes of leads. Bolts work good. As you can tell, I just put a little bit of tape here on the top, and this will be used to create planets, and you can easily remove them. Keep different sizes laying around, guys. You can find this in cups, lids, pretty much anything. Look around your kitchen. You can find stuff that if your parents will let you, or if you live alone, that you don't mind getting spray paint on. The caps from your spray paints, they work good too, so keep those handy. Different sizes will help in creating dimension, perhaps distance, especially in your space paintings. Different size of planets. The smaller the planet, the further away it is. So very important, very handy, very easy to get stencils for. Magazine sheets. Pretty much any type of magazine sheet works great. This is a sports magazine, as you can tell, just very average. Here's another type, and we just tear pieces off. Yep, pretty much any type of magazine works, except those that look like a newspaper. And you can tell, it looks just like a newspaper, real matted. They'll absorb the paint. So let's talk about poster board. This is an 11 by 14 poster board, and we use the glossy side. We always use the glossy side. We don't want to ever use on the matted side because the paint absorbs. It's absorbed by the matted side. So we want to retain the most paint as possible on the glossy side. It'll just help us manipulate the paint better. It stays wetter a little bit longer, and as you can tell, it'll just look better. It give it a poster quality. So the matted side we do use to sign, to put our name, maybe the title of the painting. Well, I hope you guys are ready. I hope this has helped you answer a lot of questions. Let's get started. Alright, crew. So we have all our materials, right? Spray paints, straight edges, mask, everything we need to get started. You want to make sure you have your materials ready, your poster board, and have an idea of what you want to paint. In this case, we're going to do a beginner level tutorial, which is a space painting, and we're going to cover a lot of techniques with it. And that was a sea sponge, by the way. I always carry one. Keep it handy. It's good for diverse effects, and I'll show you how to do that later. So the first thing you want to do is set up your painting. Put the planets that you want, however you want them. Try and see if you can picture the painting before you start painting. So, guys, it's okay. Take your time. As you can tell, it's taking me a little bit of time, just kind of moving them around, trying to get a feel for what kind of painting I want to create. See if I can kind of picture it. And once you get it to where you're ready to begin, use a little bit of black and just kind of outline the planets. This will save you paint, because I've noticed a lot of spray painters out there will cover the entire sheet with colors. Well, this way we know exactly where we're going to put our planets at, and so it'll save you on some paint there. Good. Alright, well, I'm going to begin with the green. Now I've had a lot of questions about how far do you want me to spray. Usually this is as far as I want you to spray. Just make your hand in the shape of an L at the very tip of your can, of the rim of the can, and just spray away. That can be up to maybe 6 inches away. See that? The very tip, make an L, and that's usually pretty good. Okay, so I went ahead and used green and orange. Now with my black, now notice how I'm doing this, the very tip. Now you're gonna get your fingertips sprayed too, but you know, this is just the beginning. Afterwards you're gonna be able to do this without using your hands. Now I'm gonna tear off a piece of magazine and we're gonna create some texture. And the way I'm gonna do that is I'm just gonna place my magazine on top of that planet and remove. Now another technique to help you save paint is you use that same magazine sheet and put it on the other planet. See? Instant texture. Now it looks a little bit darker because it removed most of the black. So now I'm just going to fold this in half and put it on the side. I'm going to use that later for another planet. Alright, let's concentrate on this planet. I'm going to use a little bit of red. Right? Remember, about 6 inches away from the painting. And a little bit of black. There we go. Now if you do it too close, you're going to get a lot of overspray. So 6 inches is good. Now notice how I'm doing that? I'm just tapping on certain spots and just going over it. That'll give you a pretty nice texture. Now again, you can do the same technique that I showed you earlier. I'm going to put a little bit of yellow down, and with that red and black that I removed from that other planet, I'm just going to go ahead and create some texture on this one. So these are just basic techniques that may help you save on spray paint, maybe on your magazine sheets as well. Got to be conscious of this kind of stuff, you know. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the shadows. Shadows are very important as they give dimension and perception to our paintings. I'm going to have a light source obviously in the front, so I'm going to cover this back part with the spray paint. This will be our shadow. Okay. We're going to do the same to the bottom planets. There you go. Nice. Okay, so this leads us to believe that there's a light source in between these planets. Okay, you want to make sure you get a little bit of that black underneath the stencil. And you don't have to press very hard, guys. You just drop the stencils on top. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of more black to create a better effect. Now see, this is how you create a lid for your stencils. I'm just going to use a little bit of painter's tape, fold a little bit of it, and then I'm going to tape the rest on top to kind of make like a little loop there. And there you have it. Very easy, right? So you can turn your spray paint lids into planet stencils. Good. Use a little bit of blue, different colors here in the middle where there's no spray paint. And this is going to be a space nebula, you know, just some colors, perhaps, you know, a different type of gas. I don't know, guys, use your imagination, make it look nice. I'm going to use a little bit of red as well. Now see right here in the middle of that red, I believe that's where I'm going to put my light source. So I'm going to use a little bit of orange. And finally, a little bit of yellow. Just like so. Now see, because of the red and the orange and the yellow, it already has like a natural lighting effect to it. I'm going to use a little bit of blue. I'm just going to surround this nebula with a little bit of blue. Now here on these empty spots, I'm going to cover those with black. Now I'm going to make this black pretty random. I'm not going to cover the entire painting with it. I'm going to surround my planets with black and some of these empty spots. And see, that'll give you a real mist-like effect on your nebula, on your light source. It is important though, however, that you surround your planets with the black. Okay. Otherwise your planets will just fade into the yellow and the orange. May not look as good. Now you're going to want to aim about 45 degrees away from your painting. Just like so. You want the spray paint drops to land right on your space scenery. Now this is going to take a little bit of practice, guys, especially if the spray paint is new. Usually when the spray cans are brand new, they have a lot of pressure, so it's going to take a few tries. Don't give up, it's actually pretty easy. There's other techniques of doing it. You can spray paint a puddle of white on your hands and then just kind of sprinkle it on. Make sure you wear gloves when you do this. Or if you're like me, I really don't mind having a little bit of spray paint on my hands. Straight edge, very important. Always aim towards the middle of the spray paint, never on the bottom. And I'm going to show you why. Now remember I told you the straight edges are used for different light effects. Well, this is one of them. Now you're going to aim right in the middle of the spray can and have that paint just kind of bounce off of it onto your painting. We're going to repeat this technique a few times to create the effect of a distant star, perhaps a sun. Make sure you clean your straight edge, because sometimes that paint will just gather up and come down right onto your painting and it doesn't look very nice. So do keep that in mind. Alright, I went ahead and just spray painted right in the middle where all the points connected. Now we're going to create stars, shooting stars. Very easy technique. You just put your can right on the paper, tip it a little bit, and then push down. And this is the effect you're going to get. Make sure the painting is dry. See, I'm filling it. It's pretty dry, so it's not going to scratch it. Nice. Now try and make sure you keep it very leveled. Yeah, you spray paint very level, like a 90-degree angle, because if you tip it over towards the painting a little more, you're going to have a pretty undesired effect on your star. You're going to have a lot of spray paint right directly onto your painting. So see, make sure you feel around, see what spots are already dry. The beauty about spray paint is that it dries very quick, and that's actually one of the downfalls about spray painting as well, because you have to work kind of fast. This area is still moist, so I'm going to go ahead and use my spraycasso tool to scratch my name. You can also put your date, the date that you made the painting. And let's take a look at what you've created, huh? Look at that. You created an entire galaxy in just a few minutes. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's tutorial. Please feel free to leave me questions or comments. Subscribe. I'd definitely like to hear what you guys have to say about my other painting. Well, thank you guys for watching. Until next time. And remember, keep those cans shaking. Alright crew, we're going to do something a little bit different here in this next tutorial. We're going to use a stencil. Not a planet stencil, but a dolphin stencil. So same techniques apply. You want to get the outline of your stencil so you know exactly where your stencil is going to be at. The way you can create stencils is you can draw them up, use cardboard or cardstock paper, cut them, and you got yourself a stencil. Now I'm going to be using a flexible straight edge here. and a little bit of gray. Now the flexible straight edge is made out of the same material my spray painting poster are made out of. Pretty durable, so I can use it quite a bit. Don't have to worry about the spray paint going through it. Now I used a little bit of gray and a little bit of blue. Now if you guys don't have gray, white works just as good. It's not every day that I have gray, so it's not something that you guys are going to have to go out and buy. But I just happen to have some gray today, and I thought I'd use it. White, like I said, works just as good. We're going to create a moon here in the background. And again, I'm going to use the gray spray paint. But if you don't have gray, it's okay, guys. Use white, and then we're going to cover it with black anyways. So let's get our perfect circular moon. Right, so it's a full moon. And where's that gray? Here's that gray. Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and cover it all up in gray. So, like I said, guys, again, if you don't have gray, it's okay. Use white, and then use black on top of it, and that'll give you your gray. Now, with the same technique that we used to create, terrains and textures on our other planets, we're gonna do that to this moon. Then when we're done with the flexible straight edge, we're gonna go ahead and just create a glow effect surrounding this moon. The way you do that is you just bounce some white spray paint off your straight edge. Put the stencil back on, and with some blue, we're going to go ahead and just create a fading effect. So we're going to go from the lighter colors to dark colors. That's the glowing effect. You can do this with different colors, doesn't necessarily have to be blue. In this case, we're using blue because it's the moon. But you guys have seen me doing it in other tutorials where you go from yellow to orange to red. Same concept, except we're going from light blue to darker blue to black. This is called the glowing effect, or the mist technique, which is very similar. Okay, now to create the ocean, this is going to surprise you guys, it's very easy. I'm going to use a little bit of blue, a little bit of white, well, more blue than white actually, and a straight edge. You're going to bounce the paint off your straight edge, and this is the effect you should have. Now to create the ripples, get a piece of magazine, fold it in half like a U, and we're going to create the water ripples here on the bottom. Now this is such a great technique. You can actually create waves, very realistic looking waves. I believe I'll leave that for another tutorial. And see, I'm not going all the way down with my ripples. I'm going to end it right here. I don't really need that much. Now with a little bit of white, I'm going to bounce it off the straight edge. That'll give me a glowing effect on the water. But notice that the bottom parts are still not covered. Well, I'm going to use black to cover that up. So I'm going to fade it from the black to the ocean. This is very much like the dream technique that I use on some of my tutorials, where I use a black border and just going to fade it into the painting. It gives it a very mystical effect, a very dreamlike. Now with a little bit of white, aiming 45-degree angle away from your painting, and very gently, this is how you create your stars. It's going to take some practice, guys, I understand, but the effect is the same and it looks really nice. Okay, well, I happen to have some glitter in a spray can. Everything I use is in spray cans, right? So you can do this to some of your paintings just to give it an extra touch of a mystical, mystical effect. It looks pretty nice when the light hits it. See a lot of little sparkles. Right, remove the magnets. Remove the stencil, and this is what you should have. Pretty cool, huh? Now, to make it more realistic, we're going to use a little bit of white. I'm just going to spray it off here on the side, and a sea sponge. Right? Now I'm just getting a feel to see how this splash is going to come out. This is the same technique that I use on my trees, the leaf technique. And very much like the leaf technique or the grass technique, there's going to be movement. So I'm not just tapping and getting the shape of the water splashes. I'm actually going to tap and smear up a little bit, see? This will give movement to your painting, as it'll symbolize how the dolphin just jumped out of the water, how some of this water is dripping down. And you just want to add it, in a few random spots. Nice. Okay, don't forget to sign your painting, guys. Now you can actually sign the back of your paintings as well. I usually do as well on the mitted side with a marker. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed today's tutorial. Until next time, folks, keep those cans shaking.